Hey everybody, my name is Race Parsons, and today I'll be giving a formal presentation on a supplemental article titled Who Needs Budgets by Jeremy Hope and Robin Fraser. Uh, the presentation was assigned to us by Professor David Christensen for Accounting 6100. Um, the article kind of talks about different consequences that budgets impose on companies and businesses. It's kind of a negative article that talks about what budgets can do. And to start it off, it talks about how budgets can create a power chain that starts at the top and works its way through the different levels of employees, like regional managers and branch managers. And these performance numbers kind of create a pressure on the company and on employees as a whole. They feel the pressure that they need to reach these numbers, or else they'll get in trouble from managers and upper management. WorldCom was one of the ones that came out about using budgets, and we kind of all know what happened with that scandal. Employees of WorldCom are actually quoted in saying that they had to meet their expectations, and anything else was unacceptable. They had to meet those, and it, when things like that happen, it kind of forces employees to maybe lie or create an incentive to fudge numbers, and this is kind of what led to WorldCom's downfall. Another thing is that it took power and control away from the front line. The front line is stating as like the salespeople, the people at the very bottom that actually make the people money and connect with the customers, have the strongest connection with the customers. So it just kind of takes away their ability to connect with the people and connect with the customers that come in and stuff like that. Like I talked about earlier, like in these extreme cases, there is an incentive for employees to be dishonest about their sales numbers and their costs and things like that. And there is an alternative option, which is to go away from budgets. And when they do this, they have to use different measures as to measure their performance. Sometimes they do this by comparing like competitors in the same industry. Sometimes they use financial measures, which is cost to income ratios, and sometimes they use non-financial measures such as time to market. It gives a new freedom to use a new information when customers come through the door, when new ideas come in. They can use that information to make their own decision, and they make decisions from a branch manager perspective. Some project managers that are in companies that don't have budgets, or that got rid of their budgets, actually started saving 95% of that time that used to be spent on budgeting and projections. So they were saving 95% of the time that was expended on budgets to use that somewhere else. An example of this that the article gives is Svenska Handelsbanken. I think that's how you pronounce that. It's a Sweden bank. It's a Swedish bank, and they stopped their budgeting in the 1970s, and since then has outperformed their competitors on nearly every measure. When they went away from the budgets, it was because they hired John Wallander, who was actually a manager or a top executive at a rivalry company that was beating Svenska in a lot of different financial areas. And so they went to John Wallander and invited him over to be their CEO to try and implement some of their things. And the only condition that he had was that they had to decentralize their operations almost completely, to where it gave a lot of freedom to their lower employees. Some of these changes in operations for this bank were in 4 categories: organization, performance, resources, and information. In the organization level, they only had 3 layers of hierarchy: branch managers, regional managers, and chief executives. And they spread out and diversified their power so much that it actually eliminated micromanagement to give more freedom. it created around they created around 600 profit centers, and in these profit centers, it created a sense of accountability and ownership. And then we go to performance, and they were able to set their own performance targets that each profit center and each branch is able to meet. So they started becoming self-motivated. The branches were free to compete with each other, and this was another motivation tool that they wanted to beat. They wanted to beat out the other branches and show that they were doing the best. Peer pressure played a role in this, for pressure on managers to beat these other companies. In their resources, the branch managers were now able to decide what they needed, such as like in new information. They could go out and find the new stuff that they needed to continue operating successfully, and then the branches then had authority to decide if a decision's benefits would outweigh the costs. Their information started being processed a lot quicker, so things could get to point A to point B a lot in a simpler fashion throughout the company. Sometimes if a problem or a question arised, it could go to upper management and be back to where the question stemmed from in less than 24 hours. All right, so in conclusion, budgets can have positive impacts if they are implemented correctly, but this article focused more on the benefits of going away from budgets altogether and performance targets. It gave a great example in Svenska Handelsbanken, the Swedish bank, and it kind of gave great information and insight on what that company did to become successful without using budgets. I think honestly, when I think about this, I think a key way in order to become successful with this type of leadership without budgets is that people have to be motivated by something, and if you are going to go away from a budget, you have to find a way to keep motivating your people and then motivating your employees. And I think the way that the Svenska Bank did this is a great way to create competition among their branches. So that's my presentation. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time.